Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We shall now start our side event on women's empowerment through digitalization, organized by the Government of the Philippines, Malaysian Ministry of Women, Family and Development, Gender and Development Cambodia, UN Women Regional Office for Asia and the Pacific, and USAID. To formally start our discussions, may we request Permanent Representative of the Philippines to the UN and Chair of the CSW 68, His Excellency, Ambassador Antonio Lagdameo, to give his welcome remarks.
Thank you. Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to this event, which is very important for our delegation. Information and communications technology has become an indispensable part of our life, a game changer in many businesses, diplomacy, and governance. Innovation and digitalization have also impacted gender equality and women's empowerment, especially in the economic sphere. However, innovation and digitalization have also exposed glaring inequalities in our society. The gender digital divide remains and even widens as the capacity of many women and girls to access technology is hampered by many factors, including poverty and lack of access to education. Misuse of ICT has also posed threats and challenges to women and girls, such as online violence, online sexual abuse of girls, cyberbullying, trafficking in persons, and other crimes committed through or amplified by the use of technology. We recognize all these challenges posed by digitalization on women and girls. But this afternoon, we want to highlight the other side of technology, specifically on how digitalization can be instrumental in promoting gender equality and the empowerment of women and girls. E-governance, or digitalization of government services, can promote transparency, reduce corruption, enable women and girls to access public services, and promote efficiency in the delivery of services. The event this afternoon will include a discussion on gender financing in the context of e-governance. It will also provide an opportunity to identify areas of collaboration towards poverty alleviation. This event is being presented through the collaborative efforts between the governments of the Philippines, Cambodia, and Malaysia. Thank you, Excellencies, colleagues. I look forward to a very engaging discussion.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. As we proceed with our discussions, we request our speakers to stick to 5-minute time allocated for the delivery of your intervention. Our first speaker is the new Regional Director for UN Women for Asia and the Pacific and the UN Women Representative to the Kingdom of Thailand. She previously served as UN Women Regional Director for Europe and Central Asia and UN Women Representative to the Republic of Turkey. With her extensive experience on gender equality and women's empowerment, particularly within the United Nations. Ladies and gentlemen, let us listen to Ms. Elia Eliazir, who will talk about trends and challenges in leveraging technology and digitalization in achieving gender equality and women's empowerment. Ms. Eliazir, you may proceed.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, partners, colleagues, and friends, good afternoon. And I'm thrilled to be here, and I want to thank all the co-organizers of this event for this important conversation, talking about the use of digital technology to achieve gender equality. And it really is a great bridge from last year's CSW and its outcomes. Technological advancements are progressing at an exponential rate. I think we can all agree that this gives us exciting opportunities. But these developments also present significant challenges because we are actually at risk of leaving many people behind, including many women and girls around the world. Women and girls from the global south, from ethnic minorities, women and girls with disabilities are particularly at high risk of being left behind. So now is the time for us to act, to shift trends, to shift those structural exclusions and discriminations, to ensure that we do not perpetuate injustices, so that we provide better platforms for women and girls to equitably participate in and also benefit from technological developments. While digital platforms have made us more connected than ever, I think we all can agree that they are also being used to perpetuate disinformation, misinformation, misogyny, hate, and violence, all of which affect women and girls disproportionately compared to men and boys. UN Women is especially concerned about these trends, where cyberspace is systematically deployed to discredit and silence voices that seek to advance feminist values and human rights. This includes many women journalists, peace builders, and human rights defenders. According to a survey that was done by UN Women in partnerships with the United Nations University Institute in Macau, women leaders and gender equality advocates in Southeast Asia are more likely than others to have personally experienced cyber threats. 40% of survey respondents employed in women's organizations reported having been targets of campaigns, compared to 19% of respondents employed in other types of issue-based organizations. This is this double the amount, more than double. So we must continue to support, elevate, and be guided by the expertise of these courageous women and digital rights movements fighting to make the digital world more inclusive and safe for all of us. Given the growing discourse also on artificial intelligence, it's critical to ensure diverse women's leadership in the design, development, and audit of these technological advancements. It is essential for tackling algorithmic gender biases that result in re-stereotyping, re-sexualization, re-exclusion, and re-discrimination. Strengthening AI literacy is also important to ensure that end users can engage with AI-generated content in a critical way, so that they can learn to detect false or misleading information that is designed to incite hate and violence. UN Women is fully committed to strengthening digital security for all persons in all their diversity by ensuring that these efforts are gender-responsive, rights-based. In Southeast Asia, this has led to the recognition that digital security is central to the Women, Peace and Security agenda. And that is why cybersecurity is reflected in the ASEAN Regional Plan of Action for Women, Peace and Security, as well as the national action plans of the Philippines, Vietnam, and Timor-Leste. We will continue to work closely with government partners, particularly law enforcement agencies, local civil society organizations, as well as justice sector actors who we believe play a critical role. We are also exploring collaboration with the private sector and tech companies to find ways to develop technology that is built and designed by and with women for women, while also enhancing digital skills. So increasing investments towards feminist technology and innovation will be paramount to reducing the gender digital divide. It should not be an add-on, it should be at the heart of the work that we do. And this speaks also to reaching out to non-traditional partners. I think networks like the Women in Tech Network that brings together over 200,000 women who are already active in the tech industry, who are not traditionally part of the women's movement, will be critical for us. They will build really a key bridge. So finally, As we are talking about this year's CSW and reflecting on last year's CSW, let us leverage financing for inclusive digital transformation and innovation towards achieving gender equality and the empowerment of all women and girls all over the world. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Eliazir, for encouraging our stakeholders here to take a more inclusive approach and make sure nobody gets left behind in significant developments of society, especially in the age of digitalization. Moving on to our second speaker. She is an incumbent Assistant Secretary of the Department of Interior and Local Government of the Philippines and current Chairperson of the Gender and Development Point System of the agency. Given the mandate of the DILG to bring government initiatives to the local communities, let us listen to Assistant Secretary Esther Aldana as she discusses how technological advancements help achieve women empowerment at the grassroots. Assistant Secretary Aldana, you may now have the floor.
Madam Chair, Excellencies, in behalf of the Department of the Interior and Local Government, Secretary Benjamin Abalos Jr., I'll be presenting digital transformation and women in the grassroots and the potential that lies in empowering women in the digital landscape. The Philippines' position in the 2023 Global Gender Gap Index report by the World Economic Forum was ranked 16th out of 146 countries globally, with 79.9% gender parity in the areas of economic participation and opportunity, educational attainment, health and survival, and political empowerment. Based on the 2022 e-government survey conducted by UN Department of Economic and Social Affairs, the Philippines ranked 89th out of 193 UN member states in the e-government development index, which is a 12-point decrease from the 2020 ranking. Hence, innovative e-government projects and programs were pursued to improve the delivery of public services. We are undergoing a rapid digital transformation with emerging technology playing a crucial role. However, this progress is prone to the exclusion of many disadvantaged individuals, especially women in the grassroots, who face unique challenges in accessing and utilizing digital tools. Hence, universal connectivity is a vital component to ensure that no citizen is left behind, as emphasized by our President during his first SONA in 2022. Despite considerable progress, gender disparity persists. To this end, the Philippines has developed a range of programs harnessing technological advancements. The Gender and Development GOD Local Learning Hub institutionalizes knowledge sharing and replicate best practices in local gender mainstreaming efforts. The Philippine Commission on Women's Digital GOD Library provides access to useful materials, as well as online GOD webinar series provides an innovative platform for educating the public on gender and development issues. Initiatives such as GOD Focal Point System and GOD Database equip stakeholders with the tools and knowledge to uphold gender-responsive governance at the local level. Our partnership with various private sector institutions to upskill some 300,000 women provided comprehensive digital training and employment opportunities for the next 3 years. Our Department of Information and Communications Technology has Digital Jobs PH, enabling individuals in rural areas to participate in ICT-enabled jobs as they prepare and train to become self-employed entrepreneurs. As well as Tech for Ed provides ICT access to the members, especially women, of the disadvantaged and vulnerable sectors. To address women's limited participation in STEM and leadership roles, our Science Education Institute aims to lead in GOD within STEM education by 2025, promoting SNT culture and innovating science education programs. Through the Strengthening Initiatives for Balanced Growth and Opportunities at the Localities, or CBOL program, initiated by various LGUs in preparing women at the local level to develop, reskill the necessary requirements of the private enterprises for new emerging industries. The ongoing digital innovation for women advancement highlights the increasing women's participation in ICT. Moving forward, here are some of the milestones of Philippine policies which support digital transformation. It started with E-Commerce Act, Philippine Development Plan, Data Privacy Act of 2012, Cybercrime Prevention Act, Ease of Doing Business and Efficient Government Service Delivery Act, SIM Registration Act, Philippine Identification System of Philippines Act, or PhilSys Act, and National Cyber Security Plan 2023-2028. Among digitalization strategies that LGUs adopt towards digital transformation are the following: digitalization of LGU registries and databases, paperless online access to LGU services, streamlining and automation of LGU systems and processes, and adoption of digital payment platforms, as well as improvement of LGU ICT infrastructure and digital connectivity, use of technology for security and disaster preparedness, and adoption of single ticketing system. These, among others, are the digitalization efforts of LGUs, and there are much more that LGUs can adopt from this day on to support our direction towards digital transformation. The DILG supports all LGUs' moves towards digitalized government transactions, streamlining systems and processes while ensuring transparency and accountability. It covers cashless payments and online money transfers through network with various online payment providers, and user-friendly systems for online and paperless transactions and applications. Our dedication in promoting gender equality and combating violence against women remains steady through our Magna Carta of Women, Safe Spaces Act, and the establishment of the Violence Against Women and Children Registry System. Initiatives like e-lawyering and e-reporting to the Gender Ombudsman facilitate access to legal assistance and streamline complaint processes for accessibility at the grassroots level. We also have the eGovPH app, which serves as the single operating system unifying all government services in a single application. This one-stop shop platform provides convenience to the public and facilitates effective transactions and promote ease of doing business. We will continually enhance the gender responsiveness of government policies and collaborate closely with local government units and national agencies. To conclude this discussion, women empowerment is vital to digital transformation, and collaboration is essential. We can successfully bridge digital divide and ensure the inclusion of all. The Philippines will continue to leverage technology as a catalyst for inclusive and data-driven governance through adoption of smart city initiatives, data analytics, and green technology to empower women at the grassroots. Thank you, and maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Assistant Secretary Aldana, for emphasizing the vital role of digital transformation in empowering women at the grassroots level through various initiatives and partnerships. Truly, government policies and collaboration between national agencies and local government units is significant in bridging the digital divide and promoting inclusive governance. Moving on, our next speaker is the Executive Director of Gender and Development for Cambodia, a non-governmental organization that advocates for gender-sensitive projects and programs. She has been a feminist who has been working on gender equality movement for more than 10 years now, having finished her fellowship in gender and sociology. Let us listen to Ms. Shandy Eng as she shares about the impact of digitalization on women and children in Cambodia. Ms. Eng, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much. So I'm going to tell you and everyone about the impacts of digitalization in Cambodia on women and children. Some news gonna be a bit shocked, but it might be relevant to what the context of your country, similar to the context of your country as well. I would start this topic by telling you a story of my mom. Of course, she is not a Gen Z or millennial. She finished her education in grade 7, not really understanding about technology or digital world. It's might similar to your mom's, right? We did online meeting with each other a lot because I am not living with her. She is proud of current technology that could bring her to see what I am up to almost every week, except what I want to tell her. She loves Facebook a lot. One day she came to me and told me about my cousin who is now having online business. She can communicate with her business partner in different languages, despite that she can only speak Cambodian language, not even English, French, or Spanish. But she used Google Translate to communicate with those people. This is how digital technology is working in the business world of women right now. She is also a successful online business woman and earn a lot of money. And that she also can work at home and doing a lot of unpaid care work. Right? That's what we see about equity, that we see that women can work from home, earn money, building economic power, but in the same time doing more unpaid care work because she is not in the office space. And that, my mom continued telling me, she heard she has a lot of violence at her home. Her husband also commits violence against her, but it is not what she told in the online space. So why not? This is the big question. And the other day she came to me and told me that she does not need to miss her cooking or cleaning when she wanted to watch her favorite movie anymore because it is available in YouTube and also in Facebook. But she misses our bonding time sitting in front of TV together and enjoy family time. The other day she came to me and told me to transfer $50 to an account that claims that they are working with a flying Buddhist monk who can cure a lot of illness, and that you do not need to go to clinic or hospital. And this is not unique happening into Cambodia. There's so many happening in Southeast Asia in general. And I told her that it is fake news and scam account, but she said it is real because they also live stream it and share in Facebook. Now let me tell you another story about her neighbor daughter, who is also another online business person. She was born in millennial generation, the same as me. She lost her Facebook and TikTok account password and cannot log in back. So it means she has to pause her business for a while. She came to me and asked me for help, but I cannot help her because I do not know what email or phone number she is using to log in into this account. The next day, she came to me with happy face and she said, oh, she can recover the password back because she paid $1 to a man at the local market where her Facebook and TikTok account were created. It means what? He was the one who owned everything about her online platform and can access to her data easily, and that happens a lot in Cambodia or maybe in so many places around the world. My mom hates going out and ask for Grab driver, you might familiar with Grab, like similar to Uber, to come and pick her because she used to with the idea of standing in front of our house or on the street and get motor driver, so that she mostly get lost when she is on Grab or on Uber. And it scared me a lot. I am not sure whether she liked the way that everything is going to be digitalized or digitized. But one thing that we all know for sure that we are now living in the digital age and we cannot go back. You want it or not, this generation is going forward and the evolving of digital transformation, like Esther mentions, is happening. We cannot take any girl or boys away from digital anymore. To advance the Cambodian society through Pentagon strategy in digital, having more digital citizens, digital government and system, and also digital business model, all actors in Cambodia has been doing a lot of great things. This year, our International Women's Day theme is about invest in women and girls in digital transformation. While we all did not really understand what digital transformation is. Not only the government sector, but also civil society and also private sector. Just to let you know. We have a lot more of young women who are in STEM and digital technology, business, and education. Our Ministry of Post and Technology has done a lot of great work on closing digital gap and digital inequality because they realize that gender equality is more important than ever in this era. For instance, the AI system operates based on data. If data is by us and the AI system is designed to be by us, it will cost by us in the digital society in the future. And that's we can see the importance to bring the idea of gender equality and data inclusivity. And it's not different from the Philippines. The government of Cambodia, through the Ministry of Post and Telecommunication, we set up the 4 major programs to really close the gender gaps of a digital era in Cambodia. The first one is Women in Tech Award. You can see so many privileged women who receive these tech awards. And I'm not sure whether your country also includes those women who at the grassroots level to get this tech award or not. The second program is education by providing capacity training and capacity strengthening to women and girls in digital education and provide scholarship to them. The third program is educate girls and elementary schools through allocation special fund called SAW funds that can provide partners who working on digitalizations at high school. The last one is online safety for women and children. A lot of people assume that we access to technology equally, but that is not right. Cambodia has around 16.86 million people and 11.37 million people access to internet. That's around 80%. 10.95 million communicate via online every day for social media use, and 45% of them are female and 55% are males. 10.45 million use Facebook, 1.7 million use Instagram, 7 million use TikTok, 7.2 million on Messenger, but only 530 people claim that they get jobs through LinkedIn. And 392 people are active on Twitter. One thing that has not properly addressed is online gender-based violence. You might not be familiar with the other name of the online gender-based violence, such as cross-platform harassment, dead naming, cyberbullying, defamation, slut shaming online, catfishing. Excellency Antonio, have you ever heard about catfishing? Might not, right? But it is one form of online gender-based violence. Deepfakes, grooming online, cyber obsession pursuit. So imagine that this kind of online gender-based violence have been happening and we have not addressed it because we do not even understand about the name of it. Then it is the role of USAID also coming in Cambodia. We see a lot of things that we cannot deny. So in this, I would like to end it with these 3 recommendations. We are living in the patriarchy system, so political will is so important in this matter. Government shall continue to address online gender-based violence and gap of technology assessment and accessing. Women are left behind in so many fields already, suffering from simple literacy and numeracy. Imagine now digital literacy imposed by the global digital trends, while the glory of transformation role of digital innovation is certain in the future. Gender digital investment discussing need to be centered now, or women and girls are still left behind. The third one, the benefits that I described above can be leveraged only when we have more women and girls having meaningful access to ICT, which can be facilitated or prevented by several factors, including affordability, relevance of the content skill, and security. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Eng, for your personal stories that shows how digitalization is deeply embedded in society and daily lives. That although it is useful most of the times, it still has negative impacts and if not used properly. We appreciate you showcasing Cambodia's effort and experience to pursue digital transformation, its processes and services, such as the perpetuation of gender-based violence that must also be addressed through a whole-of-nation approach, highlighting the help for civil service organizations in creating safe spaces for our women and children. Now, our 4th speaker is the Director 4 of the Office of the Student Development and Services and the focal person of the Gender and Development Office of the Philippine Commission on Higher Education. She will discuss gender mainstreaming through technology in higher education. Professor Legaspi, you may now proceed.
Thank you very much, Ms. Kay-Ann. His Excellencies, delegates from the member states, representatives from the Philippine government agencies, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, magandang araw, good afternoon, a pleasant day to all. On behalf of our chairperson, J. Prospero de Vera III, I am honored to be part of this worthy activity, a testament of our commitment to play an active role in pushing for reforms in gender and development initiatives. The Commission on Higher Education, or CHED, was created on May 18, 1994 through the passage of Republic Act number 7722, or the Higher Education Act of 1994. CHED, an attached agency to the Office of the President for administrative purposes, is headed by our chairperson and 4 commissioners, each having a term of office of 4 years. The Commission on Bank acts as a collegial body in formulating plans, policies, and strategies relating to higher education and the operation of CHED. In 1997, RA number 8292, otherwise known as the Higher Education Modernization Act of 1997, was passed to establish a complete, adequate, and integrated system of higher education. 60% of the recipients of our free higher education in the Philippines are women. In numbers, this amounts to 1.2 million women out of 2.3 million students in state universities and colleges in the Philippines for the academic year 2021-2022. This is one of the reasons why we must strive to continue our work in pushing for the gender and development agenda in the higher education sector. The Beijing Platform for Action is a noteworthy document that outlines 12 priority areas for the implementation of gender mainstreaming. This serves as a guide to us as we implement policy reforms in our spheres of influence. One of the 12 priority areas is the education and training of women. Under this area, it underscores the importance of providing accessible education, incapacitating women and girls as they become catalysts of change. This is where the role of the Commission on Higher Education comes into the picture. As the agency that is mandated to provide quality and accessible education, the Commission further emphasizes the importance of integrating gender mainstreaming in all levels of its decision-making and policy planning. More so, it affirms education as a tool in combating gender stereotypes and disparities. As we gather here today, we take this opportunity to recognize how far we have come, how further we should work on, and to analyze how we are faring in terms of mainstreaming gender in the higher education landscape of our country. As the CHED initiatives on gender mainstreaming through technology, we have conquered the pandemic by shifting to online modalities and flexible learning. The implementation of gender mainstreaming has also caught up by utilizing technology in its policies and programs. The following are some of our notable initiatives undertaken by the Commission as it implements gender mainstreaming through technology in the higher education. First is what we call the Philippine Higher Education Gender and Development Information System, or what we call the PhilGADIS. This project was launched and rolled out nationwide by the Commission to mainstream gender auditing among higher education institutions, to account for the raw data on gender and development activities, and to provide an overview for administrators as they craft gender-inclusive policies. Gender audit is one of the recognized methods and tools of gender mainstreaming. The PhilGADIS will serve as a repository of the sex-disaggregated data accessible to individual higher universities and colleges, public and private, across the country. It is also designed to facilitate policy reforms and initiatives of the Commission and of the different universities and colleges so that the policies are data-driven and evidence-based. Second, the implementation of CHED Memorandum Order Number 3, Series of 2022, or the Guidelines on Gender-Based Sexual Harassment in Higher Education Institutions. This was launched through the conduct of online and offline orientation with students, administrators, and stakeholders to orient and to introduce the Philippine higher education institutions, the rules and provisions of Republic Act 11313, or the Safe Spaces Act, and to familiarize themselves with the localized guidelines in the context of higher education, which is the CMO number 3, Series of 2022 is all about. It is worthy to note that the Commission is the first to craft the localized guidelines on the Safe Spaces Act tailored to the higher education institutions. The third is the Gender Mainstreaming Monitoring System, or the GMMS, mainly formulated by the Philippine Commission on Women. CHED has also capacitated its GAD focals in the central and regional offices on the use of gender mainstreaming monitoring system. This is an online mechanism to serve as a database in monitoring gender mainstreaming efforts of national government agencies, government-owned and controlled corporations, and colleges and SUCs and other government organizations. Streamlining this initiative to state universities and colleges helps the consolidation of initiatives and aids the monitoring of our compliance to national and international commitments. These above-mentioned initiatives and breakthroughs of CHED through its Gender and Development Unit and focal persons are our head starts in implementing strategies that strive to streamline gender mainstreaming and education making and policy formulation. The Philippines is one of the first member states to sign and ratify the United Nations Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, or CEDAW, and further having a Filipina, our ambassador then, the late Leticia Ramos Shahani, to take part in the drafting of CEDAW as a working paper. And as an agency that is committed to promote relevant and quality higher education, the Commission on Higher Education further seeks to produce locally responsive, globally competitive, and gender-sensitive lifelong learners. We are one with the Philippine higher education institutions as they implement policies and programs towards gender equality, diversity, and inclusivity. So the Commission on Higher Education, being present in this noteworthy endeavor, underscores its commitment of being a staunch ally in the path towards gender equality through the integration of mainstreaming and the higher education. Again, thank you for giving us the chance to share our programs in pushing for gender equality, diversity, and inclusivity initiatives. Maraming salamat at mabuhay po tayong lahat.
Thank you, Professor Edna Imelda Fernandez Legaspi, for highlighting the commitment of the Philippines' gender and development initiatives in higher education, showcasing significant strides such as the Philippine Higher Education Gender and Development Information System and adaptability of the Philippine higher education to take on constant change while ensuring that quality education is still provided to students, such as in the example shift to the digital space and flexible learning during the pandemic. Moving on. Our next speaker is currently serving as a Deputy Secretary General at the Ministry of Women, Family, and Community Development of the Malaysian government. As a gender focal point and the lead of the gender focal team, Deputy Secretary General Chun Hua integrates gender perspectives into planning, policies, budgets, and processes, promoting awareness across ministries and agencies. Let us listen as Mr. Chua presents their experience in utilizing financial technology or fintech as a tool for women's empowerment. Mr. Chua, you may proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Kay, our moderator. Excellency, distinguished panelists, representative of the governments, and CEO, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon all. Today I have the privilege of discussing a transformative approach towards empowering women-led micro, small, and medium enterprises, or we call it MSMEs, in Malaysia through financial technology or fintech. Our journey into the digital era presents unparalleled opportunity for economic growth and gender equality, particularly through the lens of fintech's role in enhancing the financing landscape for MSMEs. World Bank Global FinDex Survey 2021 showed that 79% of Malaysian adults use digital payments, with 42% starting during the pandemic. Mobile banking is also booming, supported by widespread 4G coverage, affordable data, and 5G is in the works. Malaysia ranked 40 globally out of the 134 economies and on the 8th of Asia and Pacific in the latest Network Readiness Index 2023, one of the leading indices on the application and impact of information and communication technology. Before I go further, let me give you an example from my ministry where fintech was used to enable women and linking it up with the care economy that we discussed a lot during the 68 CSW session, which Ms. Elia mentioned yesterday as well. The government and a local women-led startup had launched Kiddo Care, an innovative platform aimed at empowering women by training them to become professional caregivers. It connects families with certified caregivers through a mobile app and offer a developmental program for women, promoting work-life balance and economic participations. This platform has simplified financial transactions for consumers or businesses, making them more accessible and generally more affordable, and has been expanding since then. At the heart of Malaysia's strategy to bolster MSMEs in the digital age is the National MSME Digital Platform. Steered by the National Development Council, this platform is the testament to the nation's dedication to integrating MSMEs into the digital economy, with SME Bank Malaysia's transformation program playing a crucial role. One notable outcome of this initiative is the development of Odela, a leading fulfillment digital platform. Odela exemplifies a forward-thinking approach to maintaining a vibrant MSME ecosystem, enabling seamless customer-approved purchase channels. In Malaysia, the commitment to fostering a robust and inclusive fintech ecosystem for MSMEs is evident. Bank Negara Malaysia highlights the significant involvement of fintech businesses within the leading entrepreneur accelerator platform market, equity crowdfunding framework, peer-to-peer networks, and investment account platforms. These platforms have not only democratized access to finance, but had also opened new avenue for growth and innovation for MSMEs, particularly those led by women. Recognizing the unique challenges and needs of women entrepreneurs, Malaysia has pioneered specific financing programs such as the Women Netpreneur Program, SME Hub, and the Women Exporters Development Program. These initiatives are designed to empower women in the digital marketplace, offering them the tools and resources necessary to thrive in an increasingly competitive global economy. In 2023, SME Corp Malaysia provided 22.6 million ringgit in financial assistance to 1,065 women entrepreneurs. These figures accounts for nearly 40% of the 2,708 MSMEs benefiting from development programs implemented by SME Corp. This achievement surpasses SME Corp Malaysia's initial target of having at least 30% of beneficiaries as women entrepreneurs. Notably, among the programs benefiting women entrepreneurs is the Micro Entrepreneur Business Development Program, with 548 participants, 48% of whom are women, receiving 1.7 million ringgit in assistance. SME Corp Malaysia also aided women entrepreneurs through the Indigenous Youth Entrepreneur Program, which aims to encourage young people to venture into entrepreneurship. Out of 555 approved business grant recipients, totaling 10 million, half were young women, with 280 participants approved for business grant totaling 4.3 million ringgit. Furthermore, Malaysia implemented the SMSE Export Strengthening Program to enhance the pre-export capabilities of MSMEs and increase the number of MSMEs with the potential to penetrate global market. A total of 121 women-owned MSMEs received approved of grants totaling 3.3 million ringgit. This year, Malaysia through SME Corp will once again organize the Enterprise 50 Award, or E50, a prestigious award program that recognizes the top 50 MSMEs in Malaysia. To acknowledge the achievements and contribution of women entrepreneurs, one of the special awards created under this program is the Best Women Entrepreneur E50 Award. Ladies and gentlemen, while the current initiatives are lauded, we also recognize few areas that need to be tapped into further enhance and support structure for women-led MSME in fintech as follows. First, lowering barriers of women SMME in international trade to unlock growth opportunities. Second, enhancing fintech knowledge among women-led MSMEs through virtual learning platforms to improve digital adoption and effectiveness. And lastly, establishing a centralized data bank for sharing sex disaggregated internationally, leading to the creation of a special fintech fund targeted at supporting women-led MSME globally. This fund would provide the financial backing necessary to overcome the unique challenges faced by women entrepreneurs, fostering an environment of innovation and growth. In conclusion, the integration of fintech into the financing landscape for MSMEs in Malaysia represents a significant leap forward in empowering women entrepreneurs. By implementing these recommendations, we can ensure that women-led MSMEs not only survive but thrive in the fourth industrial revolutions. Let us work together to build a more inclusive, equitable, and prosperous future for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Secretary General Chua, for sharing your insightful information and empowering women-led MSMEs in Malaysia through fintech. It has provided our audience a comprehensive overview of Malaysia's initiatives to support women entrepreneurs and the digital economy. We appreciate your efforts in fostering inclusivity and economic growth. The next speaker is a senior advisor for digital inclusion and gender equality with the Economic Growth and Gender Equality team in USAID's Gender Equality and Women's Empowerment Hubs. As a USAID contractor through Dexys Professional Services, Gwen manages activities in the technology, digital inclusion, and digital financial services sector. Her portfolio of USAID's activities includes the Women in the Digital Economy Fund, which is a $60 million pooled partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. To talk about digital inclusion of women, let us now listen to Ms. Gwen Cinder.
Thank you so much. And I just want to say, first of all, it's a pleasure for me to be here and represent USAID. And I've really loved hearing about all the programming and the activities of the governments of the Philippines, Cambodia, and Malaysia with regards to digital inclusion and gender equality. This is amazing. This is amazing. I am, as I was introduced, my name is Gwen, and I work in digital inclusion and gender equality. And so I have a little niece that I spent a portion of last week with while I had the rest of my team here, that they were launching the first round of funding for the Women in the Digital Economy Fund. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute. But she said to me, she said, "Tia Gwen, Aunt Gwenny, what do you do?" And I said, I help women and girls get technology. I help put it in their hands, and I help to keep it safe while it's in their hands. And I mention that because I really was reminded of the really pressing issues around digital inclusion when Ms. Chandy was speaking about technology-facilitated gender-based violence. And so I'd like to start, with a question. So all of you, and I'm not going to date myself, I'm not going to say how old I am. I am definitely over 35 years old. But of anyone here who is 35 years old or under, how many of you had access to the internet when you were 35? Can you just raise your hand? Access to the internet when you were 35. 35 or younger. 35 or younger. You had access to the internet. Okay, great. Okay. I want you to keep your hands up. You're gonna work a little bit today during my presentation. How many of you had access when you were 30? Keep your hand up. The hand goes down if you didn't have access to the internet when you were 30. It stays up if you still did. You still did. Okay, this is great. 25, I'm gonna go really young here. 25, you still had access to the internet. You had access to the internet when you're 25. 20. 20. Is your hand up? Is it still up? Excellent. Okay. 15. This is the number I'm really getting at. How many of you were accessing the internet when you were 15 years old? 20 years ago. Thank you. Yes. Okay, you can put your hands down. What's interesting about those of you who were accessing the internet when you were 15 is that right now, almost everywhere in the world, in all countries, women and girls who are 15 years old are accessing the internet. And a lot of them are experiencing technology-facilitated gender-based violence. They're experiencing shaming or bullying. They're experiencing online slander, things being said about them that aren't true, that they can't necessarily defend or prove that they're not true, that are affecting their standing in their families and in their communities, maybe potentially affecting job prospects or marriage prospects. So, so this is really, really serious. And I mention this because I think that this is really the biggest thing I think I feel like it's hurtling towards us, and it's a freight train, and it's going very quickly, and it is unstoppable. And I was with, a couple weeks ago, I was in a meeting with the global head of digital inclusion and gender equality at an international public organization, a big one. And they said to me, if you know what works in technology-facilitated gender-based violence, please tell us. Please tell us. And it was a big organization like the United Nations. It wasn't the United Nations, but it was just like the United Nations. And so it's also that we don't know really what works in technology-facilitated gender-based violence. And the other thing is, if I'm really honest, and if you ask me, does USAID know what works in digital inclusion? And when I say digital inclusion, I mean connectivity to the internet, getting women and girls connected. I mean tools and devices that they can use through the connectivity to the internet, including those that are for persons with disabilities and LGBTQI individuals and indigenous communities. Do we know what works to get them devices and tools so that they keep those devices? Because what I do know is that between 70 and 80% of women globally, if you give them a phone and you simply give it to them and it's free, they will lose it. It will either be sold, it will be taken by a male family member, they will lose access to it. If you set it up with a loan, loans for phones, that works. If there's a financial obligation tied to that woman keeping that phone, she'll keep the phone. It's much more likely. So we know that works. If I move a little bit further along the digital spectrum, and I'm talking about digital literacy, how do we get women, for example, entrepreneurs, women entrepreneurs, love working with women entrepreneurs, love it. I've run business accelerators in the Patagonia and the southern tip of Chile and loved working with women entrepreneurs. How do we help them digitalize their business? How do we help them connect with digital payments at their kiosk or their neighborhood store so they can actually take out a loan against those digital payments and make little tiny payments on that small loan every day with those digital sales? If I move a little bit further along the spectrum, how do I know the data and the insights that are being produced by all of you working in this field? Is that information getting out? Is it getting to the right people? Is it getting to the people who are then developing and designing new programming that's being launched right now globally, especially in Southeast Asia? How is that information being transmitted? Because when I've asked, and I felt really, really honestly stupid saying what works, I will get answers, well, this worked in this country with this government and this amount of funding focused on this community. Well, and then I would say, well, if I take you to that neighboring country, if it worked in Malaysia, will it work in Cambodia? If it worked in Malaysia and Cambodia, will it work in the Philippines? If it worked in Malaysia, Cambodia, and the Philippines, can I take it to Mexico or Colombia or South Africa?
Or Iran or Afghanistan.
Right. So what works, right? And so we were asking ourselves these questions at USAID, and we realized two things. The first thing we realized is that USAID has really not put a lot of money behind digital inclusion. They put a little bit of money here, a little bit of money there, over multiple years. Second, we never really engaged with inclusion with a big anchor partner. We've done smaller engagements with maybe one-off engagements with a corporation like Microsoft, MasterCard. We've done that to connect women in remote regions of Africa, of India, Colombia. We had engaged with MasterCard to help facilitate digital payments. We've done that. That worked. But those are two companies and two programs, and USAID, fortunately, has a budget of over $2 billion a year. So let's put more money towards digital inclusion and getting tech into the hands of women and girls. So we wanted to do that. We wanted to do it over 5 years. We wanted a big anchor partner. We wanted to include the entire digital spectrum, which I had never done before. I wanted to include connectivity, devices and tools, digital literacy, technology-facilitated gender-based violence, and keeping women and girls safe online, including data protection, consumer fraud, How do we fight this? How do we get information into the hands of women and girls that protects them? And I wanted to fund all these activities and say, and you're going to share your learning and your insights with me because I'm going to disseminate them everywhere. And I'm going to do my absolute possible best to do that. So what did we do? We actually did something about all of that. We launched last week at CSW when I was with my little niece, 5 years old, who said, what do you do? And it's called the Women in the Digital Economy Fund. And it was previously mentioned. It's a $60 million fund right now. It's going to grow because I'm on fire and I'm going to talk to lots and lots of people who want to help me fund this. Like you all, if you're open to that, I want to talk to you absolutely afterwards. The Gates Foundation, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, they came in. They gave us $10 million. USAID put in $50 million for a total of $60 million. And we also brought in an implementing partner. But because it's such a big spectrum of digital inclusion, we could not find one implementing partner that had experience in all of this, which makes sense. These are a lot of different things we're talking about. And the thing, if anything, that I've learned about digital inclusion that's consistent and applies everywhere is that it's complex. It is complex to get technology into the hands of women and girls. And it's complex because the thing that I really want to emphasize is we can have all these fantastic programs, but if we are not looking at gender and social norms, we are looking at a beautiful tree with gorgeous branches, and we're not looking at the roots. The roots, the stuff that's hidden underneath that is what happens to that woman. Can she still access the technology after the program ends? Does she still get to keep her phone? Is she still safe? Does she know how to keep herself safe? Where's the sustainability of this programming? So we launched our first round of funding last week. It is a global initiative. It's a global call to action. We have a website, ydefglobal.com, and you all can apply. We're looking for local not you all. Governments cannot apply. Sorry. Governments can't apply. And big, large corporations like MasterCard or Microsoft can't apply either. We want to work with local organizations, local SMEs, local nonprofits that are working at this nexus of digital inclusion and gender equality. And we have this big, audacious goal of closing by 50% the gender digital divide by 2030. And we really want organizations in this first round of funding that are local, locally registered, locally run, and I would absolutely love it if they were also managed, owned, or led by women. Right, sisters? Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to talk to those people, too. Right? Those women. So I will stop there because I know I'm certainly over time. But that's a little bit about USAID in a nutshell, a very small nutshell. What we're doing in digital inclusion, what I'm excited about right now, what I've struggled with, knowing what works, and what we're trying to solve for right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Gwen, for highlighting that providing connectivity requires a differentiated approach, and we thank the role of USAID globally in helping states achieve this. We look forward to your continued passing in ensuring digital inclusion and closing the digital gender divide. For our last speaker, but certainly not the least, is an established digital media manager and strategist. Her work with then Presidential Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s digital media campaign has catapulted her to higher recognition. She currently serves as the Undersecretary for Digital Media Services under the Presidential Communications Office and holds the helm of delivering the administration's plans and policies through effective use of the nation's digital assets. Ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome Undersecretary Emerald Ridao, who will talk about women in digital media. Undersecretary Ridao, the floor is yours.
Hello. Oh, okay. Thank you so very much for that introduction, and thank you to everybody who is taking their time to join us for this event today. We have heard all throughout the CSW session so far about the many ways that digital media has not only become influential in advancing the women empowerment, but actually the platform of choice for women who are still starting to find their voice. And as with all emerging technologies, there is evidence to support that when women are given access, they can make significant change. And so as we delve into the multifaceted role of women in digital, and for my part, especially digital media, I'd like to explore the contributions alongside the challenges. In the Philippines, for example, in the Philippines alone, we have over 93 million active social media users, and that's only as of 2022. 62% of those, or more than half, are women who are shaping online discourse and culture. And of course, as access to the internet grows, digital increasingly becomes a very powerful platform for more women empowerment and entrepreneurship. Now, when we talk about women in digital, who are we talking about here? When you think about women in digital, we often think about women who have broken barriers and made significant changes in opinion around women's issues. We have heard in various interventions this week and in side events about how the many ways women utilize the internet for communication, for financial freedom, learning opportunities, and expression of or participation in their advocacies. Women in digital drive conversations, we build communities, and we influence policy. But of course, increased access also means more opportunity for violence and even exploitation. So for example, women in media continue to battle systemic prejudice both on and offline. Every woman knows a woman or unfortunately has become a victim themselves of discriminatory practices in the workplace or harassment of female journalists in the field, stereotypes in media portrayals, and forms of discrimination that really marginalize women and diminish our contribution to the media industry. The rise of digital media has, of course, amplified these challenges, with online platforms becoming breeding grounds for hate speech or the misuse of artificial intelligence for deep fakes and revenge porn, or even just harassment that disproportionately targets women and girls versus men and boys. And of course, for women in rural areas, the lack of connectivity, affordable devices, as was just mentioned by previous speakers, and digital literacy, that compounds these issues. So this not only deprives women of the ability to share their stories and perspectives, but it actually reinforces their exclusion from the very online discourse that directly impacts their lives. So I'd like to explore some of the ways that we can address these issues and empower women in the media. First, as somebody in the government, I am the one saying governments and the private sector must prioritize implementation of policies and initiatives that promote equality and diversity within our organizations. This includes measures to address the pay disparities, to promote women to leadership positions, but more than anything, it's really just ensuring a safe and inclusive work environment for women and girls. Certainly, there are programs like what was just mentioned by Gwen with USAID that will really help, and I hope that everybody here who qualifies really takes the opportunity to grab at that. In the Philippines, for example, the Presidential Communications Office will be working with stakeholders to publish a gender-fair media guidebook that will serve as a reference for both government communicators and the private media to convey messaging in more gender-neutral terms, using language that is also sensitive to the experience of women in marginalized communities, women with disabilities, and women in conflict-affected areas. Next, and possibly more applicable to the day-to-day, we must challenge and disrupt the perpetuation of harmful stereotypes and biases in media and in content. In Spain's side event on women in film, for example, yesterday, we were dismayed to find out that across the globe, even in countries that had already made strides in women's issues, we would still see these exaggerated telenovela tropes where women are portrayed as overly emotional or overbearing or still exclusively the subject of sexual interest in television today. And these are what our children are seeing. This is what our young girls are seeing. So the reality is that we must actually acknowledge the role we play in the perpetuation of these stereotypes. We are complicit by remaining silent. We can all do more to hold filmmakers and media companies accountable for their representations and portrayals of women. And of course, lastly, there is a parallel need to invest in education, and I think we've heard this from all of our speakers, to invest in more capacity building programs that really equip young women with the skills to excel in the digital media landscape. And this does include access to digital media literacy programs. It does include mentorship programs, entrepreneurship support, anything that we can do to really help women navigate, to keep up with the fast pace of changes in the digital industry. We believe that by addressing systemic barriers and challenges that women face, we can create a more equitable, inclusive, and vibrant digital media landscape that does reflect the full diversity of human experience. I'd like us all to remember the power that women wield in reshaping the digital landscape so that it is safe, supportive, and secure for generations to come. I'd like also for everybody to remember that you do not need a huge follower base or tech-savvy video editing skills to become a woman in digital. With access to the internet, initiatives from your government, and support from your communities, every woman can be a woman in digital. Thank you so very much. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Secretary E, for your compelling insights into the pivotal role of women in digital media and the urgent need for systematic change to address challenges they face. Your call to action inspires us to work towards a more equitable and inclusive digital landscape. Though we would love to hear from our dear participants, unfortunately, we lack the time to do our open forum, but given this, we'd like to ask our dear speakers to provide a final one-liner ending statement, around 30 seconds long. Let's begin with Professor May Gaspi.
Thank you, Ms. Kayan. CHED is very much open to partnerships, to collaborations with other government and non-government agencies in order to push our initiatives to make our schools a safe environment and also equally gender sensitive, so that we'll have more women and girls who can finish their education and become more empowered. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Professor Gaspi. Assistant Secretary Aldana.
Yeah. The ahead may be long for all of the LGUs to be fully digitalized. We have around 43,000 LGUs all in all. Nationwide, but it is worth taking. Women empowerment in digital transformation can only be ensured if we invest in education and foster leadership in technological industries and digital space. But most of all, we can do this through collective action. We can successfully bridge digital divide. Most of all, the rural inclusion matters. We must also involve rural women in all of our plans and projects, because we must extend also the benefit of digital transformation beyond urban centers. Thank you.
Thank you, ASEC Aldana. Ms. Elia, please.
I think there's going to be a common theme talking about collaboration and partnership, but taking it a little bit further and really seeing all of us as part of an ecosystem, and so how our collaboration and partnership is creating that enabling environment. And as part of that, the collaboration and partnership should be with the women themselves that we are trying to support, that they are experts on what they need and they need to be part of the conversation, so that we're not talking at them or on their behalf, but they are part of the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yusek E.
Thank you again, everybody. Just continuing off of the theme of collaboration, one of the things that I'd like to highlight is that in the Philippines, the president has actually launched, just going over the theme of violence against women online. We have actually a media information literacy campaign, which is a little unique in that the government partners with the social media platforms where fake news actually proliferates. So we are partnered with X, with Meta for Facebook and Instagram, with Google for YouTube, and of course with TikTok. It's a private partnership. It's a public-private partnership to ensure that, number one, the citizens are aware of how fake news goes around and how they can stop it by themselves, but also on our end, how we can craft policy with the input of stakeholders that will really stop the dissemination of fake news. So I'm hoping if you are working in groups that have programs that are doing something similar, if we could perhaps collaborate on this, because really the problem of misinformation, disinformation, and again, as mentioned earlier, with the rise of artificial intelligence, it becomes so much harder to tell what is real and what is fake. And if we could really all work together to get ahead of that, to protect our young girls who are on the internet and even just women who are starting to use it, if we could collaborate to get ahead of that problem, the Presidential Communications Office would absolutely love to collaborate with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Yusik. Ms. Gwen, please.
Thank you so much. And one more time, just thank you so much for allowing USA the opportunity to speak at this forum. I so appreciated it. More than anything, anything that I said, I really enjoyed listening to the programs of the governments that are represented here. So thank you. And I really want to see USAID's digital inclusion and gender equality team work more closely with the governments and the countries in Southeast Asia, especially the Philippines, Cambodia, and Malaysia. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chu, please.
Thanks. I really believe fintech or technology can be a very good tools to create a new balance for gender equality. But as we have discussed before as well, technology can really bring up that kind of opportunity, but at the same time, it can really break you as well. So moving forward, I think we should focus more on how to make sure that it's going to be a safer place for everybody. Thanks.
Thank you. And Ms. Shandy?
The technology. In Cambodia, the children as young as 8 years old already experience gender-based violence. So we do not want to make this continue, right? We do not want to see our young children going to experience those kind of things. And we never achieve equality or economic growth if you do not address gender-based violence, not to mention online gender-based violence. And also would love to see about the collaborations going forward. Not only the Global North organization or Global North government can be on the driver's seat. There should be more women's, feminist, local NGOs on the driver's seat for the the generation equality acceleration plans. Thank you.
Thank you. We encourage our participants to approach our speakers in case you have questions or suggestions for our panelists. For further information on our speakers and their topics, we have uploaded materials on our microsite, pco.gov.ph/UN-CSW68. So that concludes our side event this afternoon on our topic, Women's Empowerment Through Digitalization. Again, we would like to thank everyone, especially our distinguished panel of speakers, for sharing your expertise, experience, and insights. May we continue to work together in any way possible to push for the women's agenda in our respective professions, sectors, and countries. Lastly, may we request our speakers to do a quick photo opportunity here in front. Thank you and mabuhay.